Hey everybody, welcome back to the EDH video. Today's video we have a Wort, the Raidmother deck tech. This is my 32 deck challenge. This is my Gruul deck that I've been running. This is probably one of my cheaper decks. It's one of my lower power decks. I like to have a deck for kind of each power level. If I go to the local game store and play some four player pods, I like to have a deck that kind of fits in wherever I want to play. So Wort the Raidmother is a 4 and a hybrid Gruul, legendary creature Goblin Shaman. Whenever she enters the battlefield, I create two 1/1 red and green Goblin Warrior creature tokens. Then each red and green instant or sorcery spell I cast has to Conspire. This deck is coming in with 16 creatures, 29 sorceries, 19 instants, 3 artifacts, 1 enchantment, and 31 lands. Little low on the lands, but I feel like I have enough ramp in here to kind of counteract that, so I should be good. So most of the price is coming up with Bergie at 12, Vexing Sorcerer at 5, Beseiju at 35, Stomping Ground at 11, and Pyretic Ritual at 6. The deck's like $152. There's not a whole lot to it. It's literally a bunch of cheap cards I found in my collection, and I happen to have a couple of these more than 10 cents cards in my collection as well. So I was like, I'll throw them in. A little bit of some ramp here. We're getting into some ramp. We got Elvish Mystic, Birds of Paradise, Utopia Sprawl. All green staples. Pretty much put them in every green deck that I have. If I have them, I have like 17 Elvish Mystics laying around and 17 Utopia Sprawls laying around. Birds of Paradise is kind of rare, but they're all pretty good. Then we have Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, and Goblin Narcomancer. I can never pronounce that card. Soul Ring, obviously, we know what that does. Arcane Signet, we know what that does. Goblin Narcomancer is just a Gruul, and you can your red or green spells cost 1 less to cast, which will discount our commander by 2, actually. We have Nature's Lure, Rampant Growth, and 3 visits. Basically, I'll search for a basic land. The Nature's Lure will put it in the battlefield untapped, and it has to be a forest, and 3 visits is the exact same thing. All 3 sorceries, all 3 good things with our commander. We can Conspire as well if we want to ramp past her. And then next up we have Farseek, which will find a plains, island, swamp, or mountain, mainly just a mountain. And then Skyshard Claim will search for 2 forests, put them on the battlefield for 4 mana. Emerald Medallion will make our green spells cost 1 less to cast. And then next we have Rituals, which is kind of another form of ramp. We have Pyretic Ritual, Battle Hymn, and Brightstone Ritual. We kind of have a goblin theme, so we add one red for each goblin in play from Brightstone Ritual, and then Battle Hymn is one red for each creature we control. And then Pyretic Ritual is just 3 red for 2 mana. And there's tons of ways we can, create tokens here to Conspire and all that stuff. So we'll definitely get some extra mana off that. And then next we have Mana Geyser. We can just add red for each tapped land our opponents control. Brass's Bounty, add treasure token for each land we control. Manamorphose will draw us a card and also fix our mana. Not really a ritual, but I put it in here because it adds mana if we Conspire at actual net mana and draw us a card. So it's kind of like a ritual, kind of not. And the next we have Draw. We have Thrill Possibility. We discard a card, draw 2 cards. If we Conspire it, we don't have to pay I don't think we have to pay the additional cost. We only discard 1 and draw 4. Return of the Wild Speaker can also pump our non-human creatures, and then we can draw a card for each greatest power among non-human creatures we control, which will probably be 3 with Wort, and then we can Conspire it, which would be a 5 mana, draw 6. Not too bad. Pirate's Pillage, 4 mana, discard a card, draw 2, and create 2 treasures. Kind of a little bit of ramp, a little bit of draw, a little bit of both. We Conspire it, we can draw 4, create 4 treasures. Not too bad. Next up, we got Fist of Flames. We can draw a card until end of turn. Target creature gets trample, and gets +1/+1 for each card you've drawn this turn. With a card in here, it goes pretty good. Next up, we got Harmonize. Draw 3 cards. Unexpected Windfall. Discard a card. Draw 2 and create 2 treasures. Again, if we Conspire these, we're going to be getting more value out of these. We're going to be drawing and drawing and drawing. Just you can draw a lot of cards. Trust me. I have yeah, it gets kind of a little bit wild, especially with the other cards. Big Score, it's the same thing. You draw 2 cards and create 2 treasures. Faithless Looting, draw 2 and then discard 2. It also has Flashback. Manamorphose will draw us a card and fix our mana. We already talked about Manamorphose, so we don't really need to talk about it anymore. We already know what it does. It's a good card. It's War. It gets to run Manamorphose. It's a 2 mana draw 2, create 2 mana, especially with a Conspire. Then next up, we have some Recursion. So we want to return our stuff to the top. So we got Regrowth, return target card from the graveyard to your hand. Recollect, return target card from the graveyard to the hand. And then Reclaim, return target card from the graveyard to the top of your library. All great ways to kind of, if we want to conspire, if we conspire regrowth, and we have a recollect and a reclaim in our graveyard, we can get both of those back and then recollect the regrowth, and you can just keep growing, going and going and going, and just keep getting everything back. Especially with a good conspire, because you can just return. You know what I mean? You can just return over and over and over and over and over and over and again. Um, the next will be Noxious Revival, which can be free, and then it puts target card from a graveyard on top of its owner's library. And then Guy's Blessing, whenever it's put into the graveyard, we can shuffle our graveyard into our library, and then also let us draw a card. And then next we got Finale of Promise. We can pay X and just cast instant or sorceries from the graveyard. Um, it's kind of like a budget, not really a budget Mystics Mastery, because I guess they're both budget cards. More like a great value Mystics Mastery, because it's not that good. Next up we got Removal. So we have you find a cursed idol, which will let us destroy target artifact or enchantment, or create a treasure token and venture into a dungeon. We're probably never going to do the last one there. We have Return to Nature, which will do exile a card in the graveyard and also target enchantment and artifact destruction there. Next up, we have a Braid, which will basically a Lightning Bolt or a Vandal Blast for 2 mana. Not a Vandal Blast, but just a destroy target artifact. A 1 mana Vandal Blast mode, you know what I mean? And then next up, we have Artifact Mutation, which is just a Gruul, and we can destroy target artifact. And we also creates tokens where where X is the amount of artifacts converted mana cost. We have Chaos Warp, and we have Goblin Trashmaster. There's a good amount there's like 9 or 10 goblins in here, so we can sacrifice a goblin and destroy a target artifact. And also give our goblins +1/+1. Not really a big deal with the +1/+1. We just want it for the destruction. Chaos Warp is really fun with like Zada. You can just target all of your stuff and just like shuffle all of them in and just keep doing that over and over again. That'd be funny. The next will be a Vandal Blast, and then you can also overload it and destroy all the artifacts, and it's also just 1 mana. It's really good. If you can Inspire it, you can get 2. Then Bonfire of the Damned, it's just player removal, and Jai's and Immolating Inferno is also just player removal if you can Inspire it. But it's a legendary sorcery, so you have to have a legendary creature to cast Jai's, but, Bonfire of the Damned works just as good, especially if you Miracle it. And yeah, those are just kind of like some player removal stuff. Next up, we got tokens. Tokens, you see a pair of goblins. I like this cards because you can conspire and give all your creatures +4/+4, or you can create 4 1/1 red goblins. And then we have Young Peasy, Young Pyromancer. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you put a 1/1 red elemental creature token onto the battlefield. And then Siege Gate Commander, a goblin, enters the battlefield, create 3 red 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. And then we can pay 1 in red and sacrifice a goblin and basically shock something, which is not, we're probably never going to do that, but it's nice to have the option there. I manually just want it for the tokens. Next up, we got Krinko's Command, which will create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. And next we have the Krinko Mob Boss, which if we have Ward out, we'll probably have 2 other goblins. We can tap this and create 4, which is a good amount in tokens that we can tap to conspire. And then next up, we got Shatterstorm, which if we stormed out a lot, we can get a lot of 1/1 green swirls from this. Like, it's kind of goes insane. I've cast a Shatterstorm and like made 12, green squirrels, and I'm like, oh, this is sweet. Next up, we got Elemental Eruption, which can like be a game ender, but we also care about the tokens. It has Storm, it's 6 mana, and creates 4/4 for each. It's pretty much for each spell we cast this turn. Next, we got Dwarven Mine, which is if it enters the battlefield untapped, we create a 1/1 red dwarf creature token. Then we have Arachnogenesis, which is a fog. It's kind of like Ink Shield, but not really. We just kind of create X 1/2 green spider creature tokens with reach, where X is the number of creatures attacking. Next up, we got Empty the Warrens, which is a 4 mana, creates 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens, and it also has Storm, so we can get a bunch of those if we want. And then Dragon Fodder, create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. And then we have Twin Flame, which we already know what Twin Flame does. It combos with like literally everything. Mainly being Dual Caster Mage. If you've ever watched any CDH video, you probably saw that combo. It's pretty used in red decks. But I figured it kind of fits both in this because you can make a token of whatever you want. Next up, we got Zada Hedron Grinder. So we can target Zada, and it can target all of our other stuff. There's not a whole lot of stuff that targets, but I thought it was cool with the Fist of Flames because it gives target creature trample and also lets us draw cards. So we copy it for each creature we control, and if we have like 20 tokens, we draw 20 cards. Next, we got Stormkilling Artisan. Whenever we cast a copy or instant sorcery, we create a treasure token, which works with Conspire. And then Mystics Mastery, we can overload it. That's mainly what we do, and just cast all the stuff in our graveyard. Next up, we got Krark the Thumbless, which is the most complicated and confusing card I've ever read. We don't have to go over that. Flip a coin, return the spell to your hand. It gets really crazy if you have if you're in Is It, but we're not in Is It, so we don't have to worry about it. Gutter Snipe, whenever we cast an sorcery, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. And then Burgie, whenever we cast a spell, we add 1 red mana. This helps us kind of storm, and then Gutter Snipe kind of helps us keep our opponent's life totals low. What is this category? I have no idea. So first up, we got Reverberate, which lets us copy stuff. Reiterate, we can copy stuff, and we can also buy it back. And we got Hit the Motherlode, which is a bomb in this deck. So you can, if you copy it, you discover 10 twice, and then you create a number of tapped treasure tokens equal to the difference. So if you flip it up and you get like a Soul Ring, you get 9 treasures, and then if you flip the next one up and you get like something that costs like 9, you only get 1, but still. And then next up, we got Hazer Rage, which will give your creatures +1/+0 until in a turn. It also has Storm and Buyback. So it's effectively just a way to pump our whole team and kind of get through. It doesn't give them trample, which kind of sucks. But we don't. I mean, why? If we can get a couple through, we are gonna have like 50 tokens out, so why not? Then we have Grinning Ignis. You can pay 1 red and return it to its owner's hand, and then create 2 colorless and a red. And then we have Grape Shot, which is a classic red finisher. If we have a bunch of Storm, we can just kind of kill some people in the game, of course. And then next we have lands. We have 12 Mountains, Besaiju, Center Glade, a Dwarven Mine, a Stomping Ground. We have 11 Forests, Castle Embereth, Commercial District, Game Trail, and Kerplussant Forest. Which are all pretty good basic lands here. 31 lands is what's in the deck. I know it seems low, but every time I play this deck, I'm either drawing too many lands or I'm not doing crap because this deck is a really low power. I mean, I would recommend building this deck, but it's low power. I did not build this deck high power. There is combos in the deck. I do have Twin Flame Dual Caster Mage. That is a combo, but I don't have tutors to tutor for it. I just get lucky. I just want to draw into it. And then there's like a couple Grinning Ignis, maybe some Grinning Ignis combos that I'm not aware of that may be possible. I'm not really sure. I'm sure there's combos that I don't know about. I mean, I'm sure I could find them on Spellbook, but I looked. I don't remember them honestly. I don't care that much. I'm really not trying to combo. I'm really just trying to like mill myself a bunch with and then cast a Mystic Smash. Like mill myself by just drawing a bunch and then having to discard stuff, and then also just like drawing a bunch and just playing spells. That's kind of what I want to do. And then cast like a big old Mizzix Mastery. I don't really have a lot of I don't have a lot of stack interaction. I don't have like Deflecting Swat or Tipple's Trickery or anything crazy like that. Those are not really budget. And like I said, this is like my low power, my kind of budgetish deck. I do enjoy playing it. It's probably one of my favorite decks to play for low power. I do have a couple other low power decks. This is probably one that I see myself reaching for more often than the other ones. But anyways, sorry for rambling on. I'm sure you guys don't really care. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.